Hello Yin Yogis. This tutorial is all about Sphinx and Seal Pose in Yin Yoga. So these poses are a fantastic way to target the meridians of the water element, the urinary bladder meridian, which runs right the way across the back line of the body and up either side of the spine, and the kidney meridian, which runs starts in the inner aspect of the leg, circling around the ankle, the inner part of the knees, and then enters in at the sacrum at the end of the spine, comes up to join the organs of the bladder and the kidneys before coming a little bit more externally onto the front body and travelling up the front of the chest. So it's a back bend, and you can range from a very, very subtle stimulation of compression in the back body, particularly in the area of the kidneys themselves, the actual organs themselves, to something a little bit deeper by taking it up into seal pose and taking it up higher. So depending on the level of extension you have available in your spine on any given day will depend how you approach and prop this pose. So I'm going to show you a few variations now. So it's a prone pose, that's to say lying on your belly, and you may want to prop a blanket under the front of your pelvis if you're a little bit more sensitive on the pelvic bone on the front there. However, I'm generally okay there, so I'm going to show you the first variation with a blanket. Well, actually, without a blanket, Sphinx pose can just be approached like this. So your forearms on the ground, and you kind of want the elbows supporting your shoulders to some degree there. However, you can kind of let the shoulders raise up and drop back into the hammock of your neck as one option. This can kind of give a little bit of a massage to the upper trapezius muscles there. You can let your head be a little bit more neutral, or you can let your head drop forward and take it onto some kind of block. So let me just move my blocks a little bit closer. So something along this line. And with your legs, you'll want to find out how close or far away you want them from each other. And again, this is going to change the sensation in your lower back. Generally, the closer the legs are together, the more sensation you're going to feel of this light compression in the sacrolumbar arch there. And the more you move them apart, maybe you might feel a little bit more stimulation through the inner leg area where that kidney meridian's working. So again, depending what feels right for you. To make it a little bit more comfortable, it can be quite nice to take some kind of prop, for example, a rolled up blanket, and just pop it underneath your front ribs there. What this can do is it can help take some of the pressure out of your shoulders. So I'm not really using my shoulders to support myself there. And if you've got any niggles in the shoulder or neck area, this could be quite a nice way to prop the pose. And then again, depending how we want to support ourselves, we can use blocks. You can even kind of bring your hands to either side of your head here to support. And if you have got any back problems, then staying a little bit lower, so pulling back in the pose and making sure you're nice and comfortable underneath your rib cage will probably be advisable. However, it's fine to have a little bit of stress in this area. In fact, it's important, it's necessary to create a little bit of stress to the tissues around the spine there. This helps create growth and stimulation. It's very healthy and nourishing for our back. So it's about finding that right balance. We don't want to put too much stress on there. However, a little bit of stimulation can be very beneficial for our back health. You may want to use a bolster under your front ribs. You can use blocks, whatever works for you. And as I say, no need to use any props at all. And again, you might want to turn your hands out slightly, your elbows out slightly, walk your hands a little bit further away, and kind of experiment with your arm position there. So leg position, arm position, and head position are all going to make these subtle shifts in how you experience Sphinx pose. Now, if you feel a bit more open in your back body today, you can begin to take it higher up into seal pose. Now, seal pose will involve you coming to straighter arms and taking yourself into a deeper back bend. Now, for many of you, this is just going to be too intense on your back. Make sure that you kind of let go of any gripping that may be occurring in your buttocks if you come up a little bit higher. And again, you can prop here as before, but maybe you're taking the prop a little bit more kind of underneath your belly there. If you want to come up like really high, then go for it. But make sure that it's a sustainable place here that you can hold for these longer hold times of yin yoga without kind of forcing yourself to stay in the pose. Remember, yin is the opposite. It's all about surrendering. It's all about yielding and just peeling away those layers of resistance that we create in our body and our mind. Now, if you're coming up into seal pose, this is going to give you a deeper front body stretch there, so working into the kidney meridian and also into the stomach and spleen meridians of the earth element. And depending on your shoulder anatomy, your elbows, your wrists, you may want your arms a little bit turned out, a little bit closer in, a little bit further away. And again, a bolster laid across the way in front of you might be an option for you there. And often it's one way to approach these poses is to approach them together. So you may want to start in Sphinx and after a few minutes continue the hold in your seal pose. You can even bring in a tiny subtle bit of neck work here if you need a little bit of movement to keep you centered. Or the opposite, you may feel you want to come up high and then the sensations just become too strong, too all-consuming, and you need to just subtly shift it down in order to be able to work with this yielding in the pose. Okay, and then when you finish the pose, I would recommend removing all props and then coming down onto a rebound on your belly, maybe making a little cushion out of your hands, or you can bring your hands either side of you to get out of your shoulders and bring your head to one side, or even your head to a block or to the floor. And dropping your big toes in towards each other with your heels out to the side can really help just release any compression there, any tension in the lower back, in the sacrum, in the end of the spine. And we would take our full rebound there. If you feel that you would like to counterpose this pose, then it can be quite nice coming back into your child's pose afterwards, with or without a prop for your head, for your body. And again, arms, you might want to get out of those shoulders, especially if you've not been using a prop and they've had just a little bit more strain applied to them through holding you up. Then bring them down by your heels there, your palms down by your heels. And you could use this as your next asana, or you can just stay there for a minute or so and take a few conscious breaths and use it more as a counter pose before moving into your next pose. So that is Sphinx and Seal Pose. Thank you for watching. Namaste.